catch us up on the Anglers Outpost in Osage Beach. If you remember, it was May 8, 2024. I got a press release sent to me from Dan Buck with Anglers Outpost Lodge. That was just over a year ago. And according to the initial press release, it was a 9-acre new development alongside Osage Beach Boulevard, just a half mile from the public boat launch at PB2, right there next to Dollar General. Easy access to KK and 54. The first phase was supposed to have 24 suites with 48 sleeping rooms over 4 huge buildings. Each was going to have a 60 by 12 foot garage, big enough for a truck and trailer combo. Attached, right? I mean,
perfect for fishermen and everything like that,
Yeah, and on top of that, each unit was going to have 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchenette, everything you really needed to come down and fish in a tournament or get away to Lake of the Ozarks. It was also going to have clubhouse, golf simulator, arcade table games, outdoor barbecue, and fire pits. And the initial press release said they'd have a groundbreaking in June of 2024, open in the winter of 24-25, with July 20 of 24 website reservations available at that point in time. Well, Lake Expo came out with an update in January of 2025, and Dan Buck, who is listed in this article as the VP of Patriot Equity Partners, which are a Missouri-based company, initially listed as the investor group, now the project developer, they said they worked through a few construction delays and would open by the end of 2025. Well, I happened to see in the weekly report, the City of Osage Beach sends over every week their agenda for their upcoming meeting, and I happened to see this last week that on the agenda, there was a bullet that said Anglers Outpost ordinance to approve a $13 million revenue bond something, which I then asked the city. I was like, okay, it was the May 30th board agenda that said Bill 2548, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach to issue its taxable industrial revenue bond, Anglers Outpost Project, Series 2025, and a principal amount not to exceed $13 million for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of acquiring, constructing, and improving an industrial development project in the city, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection with the issuance of bonds. And this was going to be the first readings.
Right.
So I asked the city, is this similar to a TIF? And Jamie Rutledge, who's been great.
She's amazing.
She said, and this is word for word, said Anglers Outpost is seeking Chapter 100. It was discussed in detail at the last board meeting on May 15th, which is available not just on YouTube, but on the city's website about 45 minutes in. And this is the final ordinance for approval. So this is just for them to approve the ordinance. Now they're going to have their first reading for this Thursday, June 5th, which is this week. By the time you watch this, it may have already happened. And then the second reading will be June 19th. Now, please note that the regular Board of Aldermen meeting has been moved to Tuesday, June 17th from Thursday, June 19th, as that's Juneteenth, a federal holiday, and they'll send out a meeting change reminder closer to the date. So Jamie Rutledge says this is not a TIF. The department comments and recommendation section sums it up best. The proposed ordinance approves a Chapter 100 taxable industrial revenue bond in connection with the Anglers Outpost project. You can take it away from there.
All right. It says the purpose of the bond transaction is to facilitate 15 years of partial real property tax abatement consistent with the term sheet previously approved by the Board of Aldermen pursuant to the resolution. 95% for years 1 through 10, 75% in year 11, 60% in year 12, 45% year 13. So it keeps going down, 30% year 14, 15,
and that's the abatement percentage that they wouldn't pay real property tax.
It does sound like there are similarities to a TIF. You know, it was interesting though when you sent Jamie the question, is like $13 million. Can you explain that, right? And so this is what she came back with. As part of the bond transaction, the city will ultimately obtain title to the proposed project, making it tax exempt, and lease it back to the developers for the abatement term. During that term, the developer will make payments in lieu of taxes to achieve the desired level of abatement.
Also known as pilots.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Which, if you're a developer, you've looked into this, that may make sense. And it went on to say the industrial revenue bonds issued as part of the transaction will be sold to the developer and are payable from lease payments made by the developer during the abatement term. The bonds are page 30 of 239 in not secured or guaranteed by the city or any other public funding source. The bond documents have been prepared by Gilmore and Bell as bond counsel to the city. Jamie Rutledge went on to say, which was great news or information at least, was the city of Osage Beach, this is the first time that they would use a Chapter 100.
Yeah.
And that Quaker Windows in Eldon used Chapter 100 through the city of Eldon to support the Quaker campus there during their expansion. So interesting that the Anglers Outpost Lodge, we told you last year, announced as a $7 million project. Well, fast forward a year later, they're working with the city of Osage Beach for a $13 million Chapter 100 tax industrial revenue bond in connection with the Anglers Outpost project. I know there's a lot more details there that I don't understand. You and I both don't get, but I thought that was interesting, and I was appreciative of Jamie Rutledge for sending that information over and helping